ready for a lot more of that new plane smell. We're building the youngest, most modern fleet among the largest U.S. airlines to ensure that you are more comfortable and connected than ever. We are becoming a new American.
Oh, this company is interesting. I wonder if I could make some money with this firm.
Don't believe everything you see on television. Here, in Paulo Sincero, we'll show you the real deal with the companies. In today's video, we will talk about airplanes companies. Do you want to invest in an airline?
Yes,
More specifically, in American Airlines?
exactly.
So you're in the right channel. We will show you in this video the real deal of this company, and by the end you can take your own conclusions.
American Airlines is one of the biggest airlines in the US. It flies an average of 6,700 flights a day to over 250 destinations in 50 different countries. They handle 51 million passengers annually. More than 80% of American Airlines is owned by institutional holdings, being the biggest one, Price T. Rowe Associates. Even Berkshire Hathaway is a major stakeholder. If Warren Buffett, the man of finance itself, invests in the company, why wouldn't you want to join in?
The company has the biggest market share in the US with 22.8%, being followed by its Southwest with 21.5% and Delta with 21%. We will divide the competitors in two markets, the low cost and the high cost one. For the first one, the main competitor is Southwest, which offers a friendly price with less than America, but American Airlines is putting a lot of effort in penetrating this market, mainly by offering no frills ticket in transatlantic flights. When it comes to the high-cost market, American Airlines is doing what it has always done, offering a good loyalty plan with better benefits than their main competitors, United and Delta.
About the main competitors, Delta and United. The first factor you have to take into account is profitability, and for this we use the ROI, return on equity, of the companies over the last 3 years. In the year of 2015 was not a good comparison because American got a change in its tax valuation allowance, so their earnings got very boosted and the ROI skyrocketed.
From 2016 on, if we look into Americans, they lost ROI in 2017. They went from 32.9 to 29.33. Due to a reduction in total equity since 2015, the only good side of this is the company reduced its equity multiplier by reducing its debt. But also, it reduced its margin and turnover. It's important to note that American Airlines has the highest among its competitors. If we look at Delta, the company kept the same ROI, 22.22, in 2017, but they did it by increasing their equity multiplier, which means that they've got themselves into more debt, becoming more leverage. Finally, by looking at United, we can see that their ROI increased a lot, from 18.52 to 25.86. The main reason for this is the improvement of their net income margin that went from 4.39 to 6.15, an improvement of almost 40%, a lot.
After analyzing the three companies, we could conclude that even though American Airlines have a bigger ROI, they have been falling throughout time, as we could see in the comparison between 2016 and 2017. While the other companies keep the same ROI or even raise it a lot, the company that has improved its profitability the most was United, that got a very good improvement in
The second factor analyzed is the working capital management, which shows how the current assets are used in its operation. Their net operating working capital, which measures the company's ability to pay all its working liabilities with its assets, was always negative and has become even more negative with time. They started using cash to pay for the free charge and some expenses paid in advance, and these do not appear in the net operating working capital nor in the working capital ratio, causing this decrease.
The accounts payable rose a little, but does not justify such a high fall in their liquidity ratios, which means that this is not a very concerning problem, because the main reason is the payment of an expense in advance. When we look at the TNOC, we can see that the issue stated before was not a big concern, because their TNOC has been increasing over the years, with the big surge in 2015.
As we can see, the liquidity is low, but this is a normal factor in the companies that depend a lot of fixed assets, as airline companies do. So, in the liquidity question, there is nothing that represents a big problem. Their free cash flow was better than in 2017 when compared to 2016. Okay, now we're gonna analyze another part, the risk-return aspect of the company. In order to know if a company is worth investing or doing business with it, it is very important to know all the risks related to how they do business. Therefore, we compare some aspects of American Airlines and its competitors to analyze aspects such as indebtedness and performance. American Airlines has a high beta relevant risk of 1.3, making it more volatile investment than United, 1.11, and way above Delta with 0.97, adding risk to a portfolio.
Because ROIC is higher than WACC, we can conclude that the company is generating profit to investors. The company yields more profit with the investment than it expends paying the cost of capital. A firm that expects to continue generating positive excess returns on new investments in the future will see its value increase as the growth increases.
Related to performance, both United and American Airlines have a negative NOC, which means that the company is struggling to pay its short-term operation and relying on suppliers to maintain them. This can become a serious problem as their debt liquidity is very low and the companies will face problems to honor their short-term debt. However, before jumping to any conclusions, we must look before to do what is probably the most important risk-return indicator, the CAPM. This indicates how much should the general investor expect to gain considering the company's beta and the market risk. American Airlines has a CAPM of 27.69%, a considerable needed return, while Delta has a low return of 21.34% and United 23.98%, making them both safer investments than American Airlines. After this analysis, it's up to you to decide whether to invest or not. What do you think? Don't forget, Paulo's Insider's channel is always here to make you make good investments.
Wow, that's a lot of things. However, after watching this series, I can see clearly now that American Airlines is a great company. It has a scenario of bankruptcy and merging. However, they have a high ROIC, which is higher than the WACC. The short debit, for my analysis, was a big concern because considering it is a company that is in recovery phase and the net operating working capital is negative, but it is a tendency in the market which makes me believe it's not a big concern after all. Also, in the last year, the stock returned 11% already, which is below S&P 500 and also the expected return. But for use, in this stage of the company life, more than the past return, the growth perspective value our opinion. Because after this consolidation phase, American Airlines will probably improve their radios, which aren't bad, and will excel as its biggest players in the market. However, I can see as well a company with positive and growing free cash flow and the lowest WACC among the competitors, which by using the basic valuation calculations shows that the company will get valorized in the following years. Therefore, American Airlines is not the safest investment. However, it has a high return and it is worth investing.